Good afternoon, Chris. It's Kate from Kate and Jimbo, the channel that I run with my husband. And I am coming to you live from Lincoln in the UK with my match reaction from a diabolical show of, I don't know what to call it, but Spurs 1, Leicester 2. I actually predicted us to draw this game and was given a lot of abuse for being negative and being ridiculous, and then we didn't even manage to do that. Thought the first half we was all right. I mean, I don't think it was brilliant. We're playing much like Hoffenheim. They're not great opposition, but we did what we had to do. Eventually got our goal. But then the second half, Van Nistelrooy obviously gave a really good team talk, and I don't know what Ange said, but we capitulated basically, and never ever got another foothold in the game. I don't really have anything positive to say about the game. I thought it was abysmal, really. I think Ange's in-game management again has to be brought into question, taken off with Richarlison, who looked like the only one who could score and wanted to score, and left Sonny on. Very baffling decision, if you ask me. I think I can't justify it. I can't say anything to back this manager anymore. It was abysmal again, and we're not getting any better. And it's got to a stage now where I don't think the players are playing for him. Even the point that Maddison pulled out, something doesn't sit well with me about that. So yeah, it was an absolute awful display. I was going to swear, but I won't. Awful display. Like I said, I can't even think of a positive. I don't think anyone was particularly good. You could see it was 15th versus 19th, and the Premier League table never lies. But I always say, a better manager would get more out of this squad, and they would, in my opinion, because I just don't think anyone was really trying to get anything out of that game. It was just people were giving the ball away, not rushing back. It was just so awful. And I think we've slumped to a new low. And I think from here, if Ange doesn't get sacked, I've got no answers really, because managers have been sacked for a lot less. And I've always advocated that there's no point sacking him without a plan, but I just can't watch this anymore because our players, they look like they don't know what they're doing. They look uncoached, and for me, that's unforgivable. So, but yeah, that's my match review. So it's not a happier one, but as always, come on you Spurs.
Hey Chris, 16 from Denmark here. I'm very angry and a little bit sad today because we lost the game against Leicester at home. We cannot do that. That's just not good enough. But I think Leicester deserved to win the game because they were much better than us in the second half. But hopefully we will win on Tuesday against Elfsborg. Come on, you Spurs.
What's happening, people? It's Harry Scarf here from England. Here are my thoughts on the game. It's an awful defeat that will leave question marks again around Ange Postecoglou and his future. But I feel he's another victim of a vicious cycle with this board and these owners. They can't, excuse going through another manager. They've been given chance after chance after chance, and I've never really felt this strongly about them up until this result, because we're now 27 days into a transfer window and haven't signed an outfield player. And for me, at the bottom of my list, despite the injuries in that position, would have been goalkeeper. Because after Austin impressed on his debut, that gave me the reassurance. But we haven't done enough, and people now got to a point where they're saying we don't need to send back because Romero and Van der Ven come back. We're acting like a small club and wondering why we're finding ourselves in 15th place, further away than ever, with the teams ahead. And I've just been really unlucky with the injuries, some of course self-inflicted, and so some things he does, self-inflicted wounds. But for me, sacking Ange doesn't change anything drastically, apart from a little new manager bounce. Of course, we should be doing better, but for me, it aligns with the hierarchy. I think the foundations are broken at this football club. But yeah, we were, poor in this game, and yeah, Ange, may have a point in terms of we created chances enough to win the game. I don't buy what he said though. I think that's where it does make me think he's out of his depth. We're hearing the same thing every week. We didn't create many clear-cut chances, not enough. It's not like, oh my God, how do we not win that? It's not one of them. And also, he had a mountain to climb. I'm not buying that. I know these players are playing a lot. He still had options at his disposal. For me, like Reguilon, I wouldn't have played Porro, played too many minutes. That was the option Ange meant. So I talk about self-inflicted wounds. That one's on him. but at the same time, I do think that he hasn't been given a lot to work with, which is on the ownership, it's on the hierarchy, it's on the board. I think more people are starting to feel that way. But Ange's job will be certainly under threat. But they're my thoughts. But you can follow me at HarryScarf22 across all socials. I'm a football content creator and YouTube. I have my own channel, Scarfy Spurs, that I'm a regular here. I'm glad to say the Spurs Chat podcast.
Tottenham Hotspur 1, Leicester City 2. Possibly our worst defeat of the season. Feels like we're saying that every single week. It gets worse and worse. And yeah, who knows how bad it could still get. This was a really poor one. No, the game was always going to be a little bit flat atmosphere-wise. On a Sunday, we're not in a good way. We did okay first half, created some chances, scored a good goal, good cross by Porro. Richarlison did really well to kind of crane his neck and head it in. Maybe we could have been more than one up at half-time. But second half, we came out. Every single player on that pitch looked asleep. We were second to every ball, we were off the pace. Yes, there's tired legs and there's the same players playing every 3 days, but can you keep blaming injuries? It's a big factor, but can you keep blaming injuries? Eventually you're going to have to just look at the performances, look at the players on the pitch, look at the manager, and of course look at the ownership. A lot of Levy out chance today. But the way we just fell apart for 10 minutes that second half allowed Leicester City, a team that had lost their last 7 league games, having only scored 2 goals, conceded 18. And Dr. Tottenham strikes again. Just when you think it's not possible for Dr. Tottenham to strike, they do. They go 2-1 up Leicester, and what was more worrying after that is apart from one save from the goalkeeper and Porro had a free kick which deflected and hit the crossbar, we didn't really look like scoring. And Leicester City finished the match with higher XG. That's unacceptable. And here we are now, 27 days into January, and we've made one signing, and that's a goalkeeper, 21 years old goalkeeper. Where are the outfield signings? And we're in desperate need of players. We're short of bodies, we need fresh legs. And, once again, incompetent owners at the top are just not delivering on what we need. And he's done a lot of good things for the club, Daniel Levy. I know there's a lot loud Levy out chants, loudest they've ever been at the game there were yesterday. But you do have to look at him and think, when is enough? He's made some good decisions, brilliant training ground and stadium, but has on-pitch success ever been a priority for Daniel Levy? There's no proof to say it has been. He's a businessman, he's a very good businessman, but it's a football club first. It always should be, but it's not at the moment, and Spurs are losing their way, losing their identity. It's not the club we recognised from a few years ago. And how low can we sink is the question now. It's worrying. We've got the Europa League and hopefully we'll finish at the top 8. But then the league games, Brentford away, it's a tough one. Worcester and Buemo, they'll fancy their chances against us because we concede goals, we concede chances. And, we joke about relegation, but we're in that dogfight at the moment on 24 points. That ain't going to be enough. We need 3 or 4 wins at least. And it's a big week after next, those 2 cup games, the second leg at Anfield and the Villa Park FA Cup tie. That's what's keeping Ange in the job at the moment for me, those cups. And also the fact there's no ready-made replacement to come in and take charge. I don't want Ryan, with all due respect, I don't want Ryan Mason to the end of the season. So we'll stick with Big Ange and we'll see what happens. But boy, I feel sorry for myself and every other Spurs fan for the suffering and for what we've had to take, the stick from friends, from people at work, from rival fans. When will our time come? Surely one day. We could still win a trophy this season, unbelievably. We'll have to wait and see. But yeah, dark day at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium yesterday. And I don't know where we go from here. We need to sign some players. We've got till the deadline on Friday and we need players. We soldier on though, I guess, and we will see what happens in the circus that is Tottenham Hotspur Football Club. Over and out.
Yeah.